7.2, graphing equations. So the first question we have is determine if 3, 7 is a solution for y equals 2x plus 1. So we're going to rewrite the equation y equals 2x plus 1, and we're going to substitute. So we're going to say, what if x is 3? 2 times 3. Does y equal 7? So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1, we get 7 equals 7. So the answer is yes, it works. So we'll do another one like that. So for the second one, determine if 2, 3 is the solution for y equals 2x plus 3. We're seeing if it's one of the possible solutions. So the y is 3. The x is 2. So we're looking at 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3. So the question is, does 3 equal 7? And the answer would be no. So this point is not a solution. Where this one worked, it is a solution. This one doesn't work, it's not a solution. Okay. Find 3 solutions. So now we've got a problem and they want us to come up with solutions that work. We're going to make a t-chart, and I know that you've seen a t-chart before, the x and y chart. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick 3 numbers for x. Any 3 numbers you're comfortable with, and right now I'm going to give you those 3. Later you can pick your own. X I'm going to make 0, 1, and 2. So we're going to come over here, y minus 2 times 0. We want to know what happens when the x is 0. We get y minus 0 equals 3. So if the x was 0, the y is 3. Now what happens if I make the x 1? So I start with the original equation, and in the x position I put a 1. 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Now we're solving equations, opposite operations, minus 2. We're going to add 2. This is a 0. So we get y equals 5. And the last one, what happens if the x is 2? Then y minus 2 times the x. Y minus 4 equals 3. Opposite operations, add 4. We want the y by itself. This gives us a 0. We get y equals 7. So we have now found 3 solutions for that problem. They're right here. All right, let's do another one like that. Okay. There we go. So again, we're doing 3 solutions. So I'm going to just copy the problem over here. I'm going to make my t-chart, x, y. Right now, I'm giving you the 0, the 1, and the 2. You might find other ones later that you like. So what happens when x is 0? 3 times 0. Y equals 0 minus 2. Make sure you get that that's a minus, a negative 2. So if x is 0, y is negative 2. Now we move on to, what if it's 1? 3 times 1 minus 2. So again, we're going back to the original problem. Sorry about that. Going back to the original problem, and we're adding the 1 in for x. So we get 3 minus 2, y is 1. All right, our last part here, and I'm going to fit that right here. What happens if the x is 2? So 2 times 3 is 6 minus 2, y equals 4. So again, we now have 3 solutions for that problem. Now the next question says graph this, and I've even made my t-chart ahead of time because I was given the points I need to find. So again, we're going to fill this out, but we're going to end up with an actual graph. So I'm going to make a graph so I make sure I have enough room to put my points on my graph. And then I'm going to work my problem. So my first one is what is y if x is 0? So I'm going to put that over here. Y minus 0 equals 1. So y equals 1. And I go back and put that in. What happens if the x is negative 1? Be really careful with this because it's y minus x equals 1. So if I'm putting the x in there, y minus x, which was negative 1, a minus minus is a plus. And now we do the opposite operation, y equals 0. So if x is negative 1, y is 0. What happens if x is negative 5? So again, y minus the x, and the x is negative 5. A minus minus is a plus. Subtract the 5 from both sides. This is a 0. Y equals negative 4. So over here, I added into my chart. What happens if x is 1? The equation was y minus x equals 1. So if I change the x to a 1, I'm going to add the 1 doing the opposite operations. This is a 0. Y equals 2. Last one, what if x is 3? Y minus the x. Y minus 3 equals the 1. Remember, that's what the equation was. Y minus x equals 1. So if I add 3 to both sides, y equals 4. Now we're going to graph this. So we have a 0, 1, a negative 1, 0. We have a negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 1, 2, and we have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what you should see is that it is a line. They should all be lined up. Get yourself a straight edge if you don't have a ruler. Josh should have. Line them up. And make sure when you draw the line, not very neat, that you have the arrows on both ends, because that line is never ending. It goes on forever.